Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
The Rev and the Rabbi. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Good morning. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
Reverend, I saw an inscription on a monument at a cemetery which said, "Death may conquer life, but it does not conquer love." This is a week in which we see that to be so as we recall lives that were lost on that day and since that day. And to talk about what September 11th means this year are two very special people in New York and I think in America. Firstly, the 32nd Commissioner of FDNY, the Fire Department of New York, the Honorable Salvatore Cassano. The 35th current Commissioner of New York as well, Robert S. Tucker. Honorable too. Thank you both for being on the program.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Reverend.
So let me begin with Commissioner Cassano. You were very instrumental in rebuilding a department after the tragedy. You went through much. You lost many. Where'd you find the strength?
Well, it's a question I'm often asked. And first of all, you have to have faith. You have to believe in something. And you have to believe that there's a reason why you are here and you have a purpose. And with having said that, you know, the FDNY was always the premier fire department in the world. Certainly people from all over the country looked up to us. And on September 11th, when we lost 343 of our members, it was something that we owed not only to them and their families, but to the city and the country that looked up to us to ensure that we rebuilt. And we had a great team in place. We were together from September 11th until I retired in 2014, who gave a lot, who really gave a lot, and gave a lot of time away from their families to ensure that we not only rebuilt the department, we made it stronger, we made it better prepared, we made it better equipped, and we made it better trained. And every one of our families sacrificed a lot along that road for us because many days we weren't home. We were at the beck and call of whatever came our way. And it was believe me, it was a labor of love, but it took a lot of our families and our members to get us through it. And we owed it to the families that we lost and the members that we lost.
Commissioner Tucker, I've been with you many times, and inevitably you mention Commissioner Cassano in your remarks when you see him at a ceremony. What does he mean to you? What does he mean to the department?
Well, look, he's iconic. I mean, he's part of the fabric of the FDNY, not just because he served as the fire commissioner, but it's really his service before that, which is such a dynamic part of the rebuilding of the greatest fire department in the world.
Rev?
No, I'm thinking, gentlemen, this year will mark the 24th anniversary. A quarter of a century next year will have passed. And why is it still important for us to honor the memory, to celebrate, to have anniversaries, 25 years later almost?
Well, I'll step in and I'll let Commissioner Tucker, finish up my remarks because he's there. He's doing a great job. He understands the tradition and the importance. But, on September 11th, this Thursday, we're going to be down at the World Trade Center. It'll be 24 years later, and there'll be hundreds and hundreds of our families that are there. And the message that we show them by being there is to say, your sacrifice, your loved one's sacrifice was not in vain. And, the buzzword 24 years ago was never forget. Well, it's never been more true in the FDNY that we will never forget. This will be at the 24th anniversary, 25th, the 50th anniversary. It was such an important event in the history of the FDNY that we have to make sure that the people that were affected so dearly, like we all were, know that we will not forget their sacrifice from them and their loved ones.
Yeah, I think honoring the human cost is so important. We're talking about, nearly 3,000 lives that were lost that day. You gave the exact number, but I think remembering is an act of dignity and respect because, and I guess you talk to these families, Commissioner Casano, and they understand that they are symbols of sacrifice woven into the city's identity right now and out into the
Absolutely.
future. Hmm.
Absolutely. And it's important that we let them know that, I've heard Commissioner Tucker talk at a funeral to say, we're here for you. We're here for you today. We're here for you tomorrow. We're here for you forever. And it's never more true than on the anniversary of September 11th for those families. And we've lost over 400 members since September 11th because of their work at the World Trade Center. I was down there every day, every night. I saw the members toiling, and not one person says, I wish I wasn't here. They wanted to be there 24/7 because they knew they had a mission. Unfortunately, we're paying for it dearly every week, and Commissioner Tucker can talk about it even more than I can now because he's going
I'm so
through
glad
these
you
funerals.
mentioned. I'm so glad you mentioned that, Sal, because that's obviously something that we're living every single day today in 2025. Still, obviously, the 343 members that perished on that morning, we will never forget them. I have a poster of all of their pictures on my wall right when you walk into my office, and it's the first thing I see when I walk into my office every single morning. But it's the toll it has taken on the members who participated in the rescue and recovery that is so daunting. We're losing firefighters and members of this department every day to cancer related to the 9/11 recovery, and we are not going to forget their sacrifice either.
Yeah. Would you both address, when we say we will never forget, what does that translate into in different actions? I've seen firefighters attend graduations of children who were born and never knew their dad. Firefighters who take individuals to their medical appointments. What does it mean when you say we won't forget? It's not just
Rabbi,
a mantra.
We had one of the most befitting tributes to a young bride last week. I was asked if we would send apparatus from Rescue One to be outside of a hotel where a wedding was about to start, and a bride and a groom were about to be taken to a church. And we had members of Rescue One and the apparatus there. Her father perished from 9/11 illness, and to be honest with you, that got a lot of publicity. Plenty of things we do like that every day don't. But when I think of never forget, it's the families who are around all the time. It's our family assistance unit, which works so tirelessly to transport the families of the fallen and sick to the hospital and to doctor's appointments. There's so much internal apparatus set up and designed to support the words we will never forget.
Yeah.
You say that, and memory binds communities together because New Yorkers who lived through the smoke, the sirens, the rubble, Uh, I remember that day distinctly because we gathered a team of administrators to start calling all of the families in our congregation that we knew either lived or worked in the area to find out who was okay and who wasn't. And we lost several of our members who were in the towers at the time. But it creates an unbreakable bond between the individuals who walked through it, who experienced it. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. It's inevitable, especially around this time of the year. Well, I will meet somebody, and they will start to talk about September 11th, and they'll tell me exactly where they were, exactly what they were doing, exactly what they did after that, and then it gets back to the firefighters and police officers and EMTs and paramedics, and how really appreciative of the work that they did on that day. But everybody has to relive their own experience. This is an emotional time of the year for all of us. Very emotional.
We're going to take a break here. We're going to come back with more discussion with commissioners of FDNY, Sal Casano, Robert Tucker.
Stay tuned.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
As a sports fan, I have to confess. Sometimes the game gets kind of boring. That's when I unfold my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 and use multi-window viewing on its large screen. Boring game? I'm checking out my fantasy baseball league at the same time. Score still 1-0? I'm replying to emails in the other window, scoring points with the boss. Semifinals finally getting exciting? I'm buying tickets to the finals and booking my flights. Can your phone do that?
The new Galaxy Z Fold 7. Get yours at Samsung.com.
Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
The Rev and the Rabbi. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
Reverend, I know you have another question.
Yeah, I want to just switch gears for a moment because we talked about, the importance of preserving the collective memory around this, the human cost. But also, gentlemen, I'd like you to speak to this. 9/11 wasn't just an act of destruction, but it revealed extraordinary resilience. New Yorkers came together across neighborhoods, races, religions. All of our differences were put aside, and we became one people facing an incredible event. Can you speak to the resilience that was revealed through 9/11?
Well, I remember every time I made my way down West Street to get into the World Trade Center site. It started way past Chambers Street. It didn't matter whether it was 9 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night or 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. There were people lined up on the West Side Highway with flags, with banners. We love you, FDNY. We love you, NYPD. We love the United States. We love the USA. And I can't tell you how uplifting that was for not only me, but for our members that were reporting in at different times. For them to see that the support that we had after the worst event on soil of the United States of America that New Yorkers were coming together, and it wasn't only New Yorkers. There were people from all over. I'm not even going to say over the country, but all over the world that were coming down to support us. And it was a tremendous, tremendous uplifting experience for everybody because everybody was working extremely long hours, very arduous work, and then they would go home, and then they would come back as soon as they could. And the patriotism and the support that we received is something that really got us through the darkest days of our department.
You know, Commissioner Cassano and Commissioner Tucker, both of you in your respective positions are involved with facing challenges. Obviously, Commissioner Cassano, what you faced is extraordinary in terms of the depth of rebuilding a department. How does one do that? How do you rebuild a department? And Commissioner Tucker, you also come into a department and you face challenges. So let's hear from Commissioner Cassano, then Commissioner Tucker.
The first thing we did, and we ended up on January 1st getting, Mayor Bloomberg, and he appointed Commissioner Nick Scarpetta. And the first thing that we had to do was build a good team because we were devastated, we were decimated, and, as a good manager, Commissioner Scarpetta knew that we had to build up from the top first and put a team together that would ensure that everything we had to do as a department was coordinated, was well thought out. And again, we were facing a budgetary crisis of unknown proportions at that time. And we had to close companies in the fire department. Imagine closing fire companies after you lost 343 members. And we had to do that. We had to close 6 fire companies. And it was devastating. And it was amazing how everybody stepped up to say what. And I remember people coming up to me in the middle of the night at the World Trade Center, Sal, whatever you need, I will do. And they knew once they said that they were in for the long haul, and we put together a great team of officers, of staff chiefs, and together, in a coordinated effort, we rebuilt the department. We would have never been able to do it without the support of the mayor, without the support of Congressman King, who got us millions and millions of dollars of governmental funding to help us to rebuild. So it took a huge effort on many people's parts, but I really have to credit the staff that we put together for giving up so much of their time to help us to rebuild. And I think Commissioner Tucker can tell you a lot of things have been in place. You have to tweak things, but for the most part, it took a lot of years to rebuild it, but we did it.
Mr. Tucker, you stand on their shoulders, but you also, had to write a new chapter.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, we do stand on the shoulders of the very able staff that Commissioner Cassano was a part of and then led. They act as mentors to us all every single day. There are plenty of challenges for the FDNY today. They are quite different than the challenge that we are speaking about, but nevertheless, challenges. As an outsider who did not come up through the ranks of the department, I rely heavily on the uniform staff, command staff that I've assembled. I think we have a very good yin and yang going, where I act more like the CEO of the fire department, and I stay out of their way in terms of running the jobs themselves. I like to say I run the department, they run the job, and I think it's working very effectively, as is our ability to address challenges together with my experience from the private sector and their experience in the firehouse and at EMS stations all over New York City.
Yeah, I'd like to ask both of you, because it's not just the solidarity around grief and the pain and trauma that was experienced, but also and I need you guys to speak to this. Has there been an increased desire to become a firefighter or first responder? Have you seen an influx of individuals saying, this job is dangerous, look at the loss, but I want to be one of them. This is where I need to be.
Yeah, we have a tremendous. Thanks for that question. Incidentally, it's a great one. We have a tremendous number of people who want to be New York City firefighters. Interestingly, the next 1,500 or so New York City firefighters will come from the ranks of our emergency medical service, which is a process that was started prior to my becoming commissioner. But after 4 years of being an EMT or a paramedic, you're able to promote into the fire operations side. No shortage of people interested in that. We have a very large class, the largest ever, in probationary fire school at the academy right now. They'll graduate this month, and we're excited about that. No shortage of people wanting to be the heroes of the FDNY.
Right. And it's not an easy process either. It takes, 4 years, or how does it work? Explain that to us.
It's a civil
to
service
become a firefighter.
process. Yeah, it's a civil service process. There are now multiple paths to becoming a firefighter. One path is to join the emergency medical service and promote up. One path is to be a fire dispatcher and promote up. One path is to be a fire prevention inspector and promote up. And one path is to straight up take the test, pass it, and wait. We have people in the fire academy right now who waited more than 7 years to get into the FDNY. And they're doing great in the academy, and they're going to be awesome firefighters. Where we need help on the recruiting side is at EMS. You know, the EMTs and paramedics in the FDNY are the greatest in the world. They are hardworking, dedicated professionals. They respond to 1.6 million calls for service a year. That is a daunting amount of work, and they are to be respected and looked up to.
You know what I find remarkable, we've come to just about the end of the interview, is that people who lost loved ones 9/11, after 9/11, want to walk in their footsteps and become firefighters, become members of EMS. That is the way they pay back by paying forward.
Yeah,
I will tell you a story that's probably never going to be repeated any place. The Sarro children. We lost Carl Sarro from 54 engine, and his 4 children are now New York City firefighters.
Wow.
Where do you see that any place?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just was at an event with his daughter. She's helping out at the World Trade Center Memorial Museum, and realized that all 4 of the children were on, and they're all proud to be New York City firefighters. It's amazing. Where do you see that kind of devotion and love?
Yeah.
Right.
I just want to say to both of you, I've been chaplain with FDNY for some 25 years. Reverend Bernard is an honorary chaplain, and I don't think there's any greater honor than to work with FDNY in any capacity, because you're dealing with extraordinary human beings who don't want the recognition, but just want to do what they can to help others live. It's not enough to live and let live. They want to help, and help live. So thank you both. And you, Commissioner Cassano, since you were given the last rites during that period, it's nice to have you with us.
Thank God I'm still here. Whatever he did right.
Cardinal Egan, offering last rites. You said, stop, I'm okay. I'm okay, stop right now. All right, Commissioner Tucker, we love you. We love you, Commissioner Cassano, and we're just honored to be part of your extended family.
Thank you very much for remembering.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the program. And thank you, our listeners. We'll be back with more of the Rev and the Rabbi right here on Red Apple Radio Network.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's back to school season, and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask second grade teacher Mr. Torres.
Put me and just one Clorox wipe on a team? We can take on crayon smudges, sticky fingerprints on every surface, sneezes on the door handle, juice box explosion by the sink, snack crumbs, and don't even get me started on the bathroom passes.
Clorox Disinfecting Wipes, teacher's #1 wipe.
Think about it. Bathroom passes.
Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
$1 million, free to play. You just need to survive. It's the Fanatics NFL Survivor Pool. Pick one team to win each week. Get it right, move on. Get it wrong, you're out. The last fan standing take home a guaranteed $1 million cash prize. And for every player who joins, we add $1 to the pot, up to $10 million. The Fanatics NFL Survivor Pool. Play free on the Fanatics app. App access open to all. Must be 21 plus and joined by 9/8 to play. No purchase necessary, U.S. only, void where prohibited. Subject to complete terms, see fanatics.com/game rules.
Learning through play starts with Lego Duplo. With Lego Duplo, toddlers can develop real-life skills while having fun with colorful bricks made just for them. Large, easy to grip, and safe to explore. When children express themselves with Lego Duplo, they build patience, problem-solving, and empathy. See your child learn perseverance and self-expression with everything they imagine and create. Visit lego.com/preschool to learn more.
The Rev and the Rabbi. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard. Good conversation there, Rabbi.
You know, you and I have interviewed many people over the years, but these two, and the way they respect each other, the younger, the older, and they learn and listen to each other. So it's nice to have someone you can look back and say, look at what you went through. What advice would you give me? And it's nice for the older person to say, tell me what you're doing and how can I help you? So the continuity is there.
Well, I don't know if this has been done before, where you have the former and the current commissioners of FDNY on the same program talking together about what they do in response to 9/11 celebration and anniversary. I think we hit a first here, Rabbi.
Yeah. You know, the word that kept coming up in my mind was legacy. What does it mean to perpetuate a legacy? And when you hear of people who want to, I want to be just like you, Dad, the words of the song, of people who walked in the footsteps and said, I lost a loved one, but I want to perpetuate that legacy by becoming the person and serving the people and doing what I can to save lives. That's a tremendous commitment.
Yeah, I think it's important that we remember that we continue these celebrations because it honors the sacrifice, it preserves memory, recognizes the resilience as I asked the question to them, and it really teaches future generations of what we've been through. And in a very divided time in our nation, it reminds us of how unity is the response to crisis.
Yeah.
And boy, were we united around responding to the reality of 9/11.
Sadly, throughout history, crisis unites us, but not permanently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You find very often people come together. There is the crisis of the moment, and then when that dissipates, somehow we become apart from one another than a part of one another.
Well, before we switch subject matter, Rabbi, you and I are two clerics. And so what's the theological dimension? What's the theological perspective on 9/11?
After asking where was God, which many did, I guess the follow-up question is, and where were we? What are we doing to help those who lost their lives and their families? I remember officiating at a wedding. It was the Lehrfeld family, and Eric lost his life on September 11th. And I bat mitzvahed his daughter years later. She never met her dad. Her mom was pregnant with her during that tragic period. So she had pictures of her father at the bar mitzvah, but she never knew him. So I knew him, and I knew his parents, but wow, imagine there you are, it's a major celebration of life, and usually the parents are there with you, and a parent that you never knew is there with you in picture only. But I think the message also is for us is we don't stop living and don't stop loving. We have to continue to have the celebrations. I mean, the best repudiation of those who hate us is to show that we can love one another. That's what they don't want to see, and that's what would need to be seen.
I think of the fact that, memory is sacred because it keeps alive the cry for justice, healing, and reconciliation. I think about in the Genesis text where God says to Cain, the cry of your brother's blood comes from the ground. I don't know how it is in your, but yeah, it's a cry for justice. It's a cry, that some injury has taken place, and how is that going to impact humanity? What's going to be the response? How do you and your tradition look at that text?
Same thing, that because the blood cries out to us, the blood is crying out and asking, and what are you going to do? What are you going to do to make it better? What are you going to do to prevent these tragedies? What is your responsibility? We often say not all are guilty, but all are responsible. We all have to ask ourselves from our moral traditions, our faith traditions, what is expected of us? And obviously you can't just say there's nothing I can do. There is something you can do. You can reach out, obviously, to those who are hurting and try to help them. You can go to a firehouse or a police station and say, thank you. Just thank you. Words of gratitude. Things that we often take for granted should not be taken for granted.
Right.
So I think, that's the response that we have. One of the things I find very touching is when you go to Ground Zero, you'll see people who put their fingers on the stone there over the name of a loved one that's been taken, and then they kiss their fingers. And I think of, you go to the cemetery and you put your hand on the stone, kiss your hand. For many people, Ground Zero is the cemetery because they never found the remains of their loved ones.
That's true. Didn't think about that. That's a very, very good point. Now, of course, tomorrow there's going to be a special celebration down at the memorial, remembering the papal visit. Remember, you and I attended a gathering of interfaith gathering of clergy, and Pope Francis was there. We had service and a dinner and whatnot, and there will be another remembrance of that visit around 9/11 as well tomorrow. So it's interesting. One of the many remembrance celebrations that will be taking place throughout the week ahead of us.
It just strengthens the thinking that we will remember, we won't forget. I know sometimes that people say that, and they may say it, somewhat casually or not with full heart, but what happened on September 11th was not forgotten, and the people were remembered. When you go to the site on September the 11th, as many will go this week, you just have to go over and hug somebody. You don't even have to say anything, but just they know you're there and you remember them. I get text messages from people I've known over the years who lost loved ones on September 11th, all the memorial services that we all attended. It's good to know that we still have a place for them in our hearts, and we carry their memory wherever we go.
How do you respond to this? Because in a sense, memory is not just nostalgia, but moral accountability. It's not just reflecting on what happened, but it demands of us morally. Would you say?
It does. Morality is not just a word. Morality comes with responsibility. If you really have a moral code, as all of us do in our respective traditions, then you have to ask, what must I do? And come up with an answer. You know, I think in hospitals, I've been to many hospitals visiting people over the years, and you meet volunteers, and they tell me the story, well, I'm doing this because I love someone who died, and I want to keep his memory or her memory alive by doing something. So it's not just talking about a person, although it's good to talk about a person, but I think what means the most is something that you concretize into your daily life.
And that's important. I was at a conference this past week speaking to a gathering of Latino evangelical pastors and leaders from across the country, Central America, South America. And, they asked questions. It was a Q&A moment. And we talked about homiletics, the art of preaching. And I said to them, I said, every message, whether it's in the house of worship or on some other platform. You and I have, been on political platforms, social platforms, etc. But I want to do three things. I want to educate the mind, stir the heart, and motivate the will. I want to give the intellect something to grasp, something new, something fresh, right? But I want to make an emotional connection. And at the end of those two things, the third thing, I want people to feel, hey, I got to do something with what I just heard. It's not enough for me to sit here and say, that was a great sermon, but I've got to do something. What do you say, Rabbi?
I have often said this is why we have windows in houses of worship. You want to see the outside because you're going to walk out of here. And as someone explained to me, service to God begins when you leave the sanctuary. Because it's what you do out there that really determines how sincere you were in there. Sanctuary and street, there's got to be a connection. So, yeah, you're right. It's inspiring people not just to listen, but to do. And that's why we have the word mitzvah. Mitzvah is it's an action. It's a commandment. Right. You have to do something. So, all right. This has been a very, very moving
great
conversation.
Segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not leaving.
We've got one more to go,
absolutely.
don't we? We have one more.
We're going to come back.
So, stay tuned for more of the Rev and the Rabbi.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, Fidelity. How can I remember to invest every month?
With the Fidelity app, you can choose a schedule and set up recurring investments in stocks and ETFs.
Oh, that sounds easier than I thought.
You got this.
Yeah, I do. Now, where did I put my keys?
You will find them where you left them.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. It's running the world on smarter energy. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
Breathe deep. Imagine your legs more limber in Duluth Trading Double Flex Denim. Envision euphorically squatting for that can of suds. Bending for your toolbox in a state of bliss. Lunging for your laser level on a whole new level. Relax and allow the flex to fill you with ability. Find your inner flex in Double Flex Denim only at Duluth Trading.
The Rev and the Rabbi. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
Reverend, before we talk about anything else, I know, this stays just between the two of us, I know you won the Powerball. And, I think the hardest thing about winning the Powerball is to make sure your family doesn't find out you won. Because you're going to, right? You're going to see a family that you never knew you had.
If I won the Powerball this past week, this program would be the best of, not
Oh,
not us on the air.
you see that, Mr.
I'd have been
Adabali?
trying to recover from the reality.
Our producer. See, if I won the Powerball, I would still be on the air because nothing is more rewarding than being here.
I would call it.
but I'm just thinking, you win what, 1.1,
1.1 billion
dollars.
You walk away with half a billion. You walk away.
That's different. That's why I don't play.
Taxes.
It's too much of a who wants to pay that in taxes? But you think of families.
I don't mind. I don't mind paying. If I walk away with $500 million, I don't mind paying.
But you hear people say, "I paid so much in taxes." I say, yeah. But you also you did okay. You did okay. I know you want to pay less. We all want to pay less. But if you paid much, you made much. I'm just thinking.
Would something like that change your life? Would it?
I think for the moment, but I think ultimately, I'll give you an example. I made a shiver call. A friend of mine lost his father. He was sitting there talking. He says, I was with some friends recently. We were out for dinner. And they talked about the materialistic things they had. One had a Maserati, one had, all these another fancy car, fancy home, vacations. And he listened, and then he said, I got 4 kids. Nothing matters more to me. Nothing is more valuable to me. So I appreciate hearing about all the things you have, but I also appreciate more the people that I have in my life. And
this is the conversation at
No, he told me about it. He told me about later on, and he said, I love my kids, and they keep me grounded. They give me a sense of priority. So, it's nice to have, it's great to win and things you're going to do, but it's not going to fully define who you are as a human being, what your values are. My father used to say, I'm not going to leave you a lot of valuables, but I will leave you a lot of values. And I think
I like that.
That's what we have to remember, right?
I'm going to use that for my grandchildren and my children. They're going to look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm going to use that.
Wait a minute, they're going to say, "Wait a minute, Dad. You mean we're not you're not leaving us that car, that house? Come on."
Yeah. But the reality is, and I've said this in sermons, you don't see a U-Haul following a hearse.
Right.
We don't take it with us.
Right.
So the reality is, and this is a hard thing for people to embrace sometimes, but the reality is we are possessors of nothing, but stewards of everything.
Yeah,
because at the end of our life, we can't take it with us. So what does that mean? We're here to simply practice good stewardship. And the better stewardship we practice with our time, talent, treasury, and relationships, the better life we have.
Well, some people know they're not going to take it with them, so they send it ahead.
Where are you going to send it?
Wherever they think they're going, they send it ahead. By the way, talk about stewardship. Talk about stewardship. This Sunday, today, we have a responsibility. It's called Stand Up Sunday, sponsored by the Appeal of Conscience Foundation and the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. And I know at St. Patrick's, at your house of worship, at houses of worship around the country, people are going to be talking to standing up against hatred, anti-Semitism, all the other forms of hatred, and the fact that we're all coming together on this day to say we are family and we will protect one another, we will protest for one another, to me is a powerful moment.
You're absolutely right. We are one of the participating houses of worship. We will have a sign up in our church, and like others who've agreed to participate, we're going to weave the idea of standing up against all types of hatred, in our sermons, etc. I think it's a great idea because we need to show solidarity around resisting the alternative to hate, because we don't like the way things are going, and then we become like the very oppressors that we are protesting against, but in a different way. I think not. I think I know this is one of my personal values in Christian social ethics. We begin with the Imago Dei, the image of God that is stamped on every human being, and that elevates the conversation above politics, above culture, ethnicity, color of skin. We all bear the image of God. We are image bearers of God. That means that we are due worth, dignity, respect, honor long before we have a family name or have an education or have accumulated wealth. And that's important because too often we think that that's what gives us a sense of respect, what we accomplish in life, how much money we have, our educational background. But no, strip all of that away. Just being human, a person, should demand a level of dignity and worth.
That seems to say that all of us have the same spiritual birth certificate as children of God. We're part of one family. And I was looking here that when we talk about hatred, we've seen synagogues set on fire. We've seen Catholic and Christian churches desecrated.
And bombed.
Yeah.
That's right.
Anti-Semitism is up, 900% for a Jewish population, which is only 2.4% of the United States. We've seen these hate crimes perpetuated every week. I don't think you can find 1 week that is devoid of some kind of destruction of human life, of some sacred space. People who totally have contempt for others who they deem to be different. It's the dislike of the unlike. And it's sad that here we are after all of the advances we've made for civilization, we still do not have that vaccine to eradicate hatred. It's still an ongoing battle.
And that's the problem. Civilization advances, technology increases, but human nature remains the same. And that's the biggest challenge, even for you and I, because we have to be experts of human nature in order to preach to that human nature and give it an awareness of the kind of dignity that it should walk in, and not to surrender or even succumb to the worst in us, the lower self. And that's a challenge, Rabbi. Weekly
I think
we speak into that.
I think one of the bigger challenges for us sometimes is that the people who are committing these dastardly acts are not sitting in the pews Saturday or Sunday or Friday, right?
Yeah.
We're talking to people who have a commitment to a faith, who don't harbor the hatred that others do have, who are doing these acts of destruction. So we're talking to people who understand fully what it means to love the other, and the people who loathe the other are not very often in the church and the house of worship. So it's like reaching those who are not there.
I know, but so what responsibility? We say in our faith context and tradition that theology takes place in the marketplace, on the street, on the front lines.
Right.
So we have responsibility to empower the layperson when they gather before us in the house of worship on our traditional day of worship. But then they have to go out. They have a responsibility to go out and live out and model that faith that they're hearing, those principles that they're hearing when they gather in the house of worship. Am I right?
100%. We have to be exemplars of what is preached on the pulpit has to be seen in the pews, and we want people to see who we are, because by seeing that we're able to love one another, listen to one another, this is the example we give you. This is what the book and the movie have to resemble one another.
Right. Absolutely.
So I was talking to Karen Dressbach-Schneier, who's with the Appeal of Conscience Foundation, and I know she's spoken to you, and Cardinal Dolan is participating. I'm participating, and so many clergy of different faiths say, yes, this is what we need to do, and this Sunday, houses of worship everywhere are going to talk about hate and what we must do to fight against the hatred that certainly fights against us.
Absolutely. I think that we are still a platform and a podium that God gives to reach into the hearts of the people and society at large.
Mm-hmm. And
because, again, we're doing more than just touching the intellect.
Mm-hmm.
We're touching the hearts of people.
You know, and I find
and
very
that's
often
where real change.
That hatred.
God, I was just going to say that's where real change takes place. Go ahead.
No, I find that very often, unfortunately, that hatred that enters the heart then descends to the hands, and then you see people doing all these horrific things. Love in the heart inspires the hands to reach out and to hold and hug one another. So I look forward to being with many good people on this day and hearing messages that resonate with all of us. It's not one segment, it's for all of us who are members of that human family who have that spiritual birth certificate. This has been a wonderful conversation, Rev, and thank you so much for being part of it. And we've come to the end of the program.
Yeah, pleasure working with you from Sunday to Sunday, and thank you, our listeners, for tuning in to the Rev and the Rabbi right here on Red Apple Radio Network. Till next time, God bless.
Thanks for listening to the Rev and the Rabbi. You can hear the Rev and the Rabbi Sunday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?